Right, so I said in the previous video I would look at a more complex circuit. This is what I refer to as a non-working circuit. It does physically work, but it's daft because you've got an astable controlling a monostable, and you just wouldn't build a circuit that works that way. But for the purpose of this activity, it goes nicely. So we're going to convert it to PCB, click on Next, and we're going to select Placement Only, and then Next, Convert. Once we've done that, we sit and wait. The computer has its brainy ideas as to where all of the components should go. Some of them are fairly stupid. Some component placements make no sense at all. I'm going to put it onto normal. You can't see that outside of the window of this recorder, but there's a tab down the side that says normal, and that gives me this view where I can see through the components. Now, the reason I say it makes no sense is because they've got these huge gaps that shouldn't be there, and sometimes they put the components in the most random places, and sometimes they'll say, oh, I can't do this, when they need a really simple change. Now, what I said to you before was that you start off by looking at tidying up your circuit board. I'm not going to spend ages on this because the whole purpose of this is to get it to go wrong, so I can show you how to make corrections. And as I've said previously, your aim is to get as many of the connectors, the green lines, these connectors, you want them to be as short as possible and as few crossovers as possible. So it's literally working on how you can achieve that. You do need to have spaces between the components so your tracks have got somewhere to run, and you do need to make sure you don't put one component on top of the other. 555s are always fun. If you look at this one, it doesn't matter how I position it, I've got crossover wires in the middle. I'm going to go that is the fewest of the crossover wires. It might be wrong, but as I said earlier, the purpose of this activity is to look at how to correct jump wires, etc. So I'm not going to lose a lot of sleep over it. This capacitor down here, I'm going to bring it up into the gap. I've got a crossover there, so I'm going to turn that like that. I've got rid of that crossover. Got a bit of a crossover, that one's not too bad. I'm not going to sit and do the rest because the whole point is I want it to not work. But what I would say is when you're doing yours, you need to look at what happens when you route it. So I'm going to go up the top, routing options, route all nets, thin tracks. Okay. Fingers crossed I actually get some jumps. Yeah, 100%. So that means there's no green lines. Green lines mean that you've got 2 points that need to be connected together that aren't. But what I have got, if I just zoom in a little bit further, is I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jump wires. 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. There's one there as well. 7 jump wires. Some of these are easy to fix. Some of them aren't. It depends on which ones we're looking at. So let's make a start. What you have to be aware of is you can't just pick up a component and move it. It takes some of the wires with you, it leaves other ones behind, and you end up like down here with all of these crossover tracks that would short circuit it. So you just can't do that. If you want to move a component, you have to cut it, go outside of the blue box, paste it, and then you can decide where you're going to put it and drop it into place. Then move the tracks to where it should be from there. I'm going to put that one back where it was. If you want to correct this, I mean the most obvious one here is to cut, paste, and I'm going to dump that there. Don't need that anymore. Delete that. Delete that. Delete that. There we go. That's that problem solved. Okay, this one. This track, I can move nodes, I can add nodes. If this track was to go through here and round, I can get rid of 2 jump wires at once. Now to do that, I've got to do what they call add nodes. So right click on the pink, add node. Right click on the pink again, add node. And I want to take it through the gap. Now it's going to be messy to start with, and I know it's going to be messy. I'm not too worried. I will correct it. So at the minute, that's going through that. That can't happen. I'm going to delete that, delete that. This needs to be connected to this point here. Oh, it's not gonna go. I'm not gonna lose a lot of sleep. So I'm just gonna move that up to there. There we go. Now it goes through the gap. Now I also said that one can get rid of this jump wire. So if I come back to this one here, collect it again, I can actually extend that right out there to there. That now, this track, just tidy up a bit while I'm on. Come in like that. Get rid of these jumps. And this is basically what you're doing. You're sitting going, right, okay, computer hasn't come up with a decent solution to this. I can. I have decided I can. I will do this. If we're looking for really neat pieces of work, you should be attempting to keep all tracks either horizontal, vertical, or at 45 degrees. Okay, so lovely little mess going on here, but basically we need this point connecting to that resistor. Might be that the easiest thing is to move the resistor. Probably would be actually. So the resistor is connected there, so it can go anywhere along here. Actually, the resistor can be connected to this point here. It is connected to this point here. Interesting. So in theory, we could take this out, take this out, take this out, leave that in. That's a different track. So I'm connecting my resistor to here. Cut, paste. Needs connecting to, where did it go? This one here. To there. This component here. Cut, paste, goes there. So that then gets connected to this one. Tidy it up in a minute. This I have to undo. I always forget where my tracks are going. Goes to the top one, right? This one then needs, put that onto there, and then I'm going to go in and get a track. Select, so I haven't got this. I double click on here, make sure it's 0.02. Okay, and then I'm going to add a track. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Not tidy, but it'll do. 1, 2, 3. Oops, missed. Go and get that. Move that onto there. Move that to there. Really could just do with that coming down 90 degrees. That would be so much neater. That one to there. So it is a matter of tidying up as you go. Right. Well, I no longer need that. I no longer need that. That does need to go up, but it doesn't need to go up as high as that anymore. So I could bring that down. If I'm bringing that down, actually, look, this could come out. Cut, paste, dump that in there, and then this track can be moved to there instead. Delete that. Now we can bring this bit down. So it's literally about having a bit of a tweak. How can I tidy it? How can I neaten it? And you work your way through. And that's how you need to make the improvements to your board.